Today's practice is all about your knees. So we'll take some gentle yoga postures, we'll take some somatic movements, but really this practice is about awareness, a gentle, compassionate, confident awareness of your knees. So for this practice, you're going to want to have a yoga bolster or a very firm pillow, a couple of yoga blocks, and a blanket. To begin, I'd like to have you place your yoga bolster and your blocks at what is going to be the top of your mat. So one of the short edges of your mat you'll identify as the top. Those props will go to the top, and please do take your blanket then to the left. So as you're facing the top of your mat, your blanket should be on your left. And once you've got all those props established, I'm going to have you come on down to your belly with your head toward the top of your mat and the blanket just off of the left side of your mat at about hip height. And as you come down to your belly, just rest your forehead on your hands or your cheek on the floor. And notice immediately the position of the knees on the mat. You might be noticing the pressure from the floor. And as you're noticing your knees, compare the right to the left. Are your knees resting in exactly the same position on your mat? So if you were laying in sand and you look down at the imprint that your knees made, would it be exactly the same? Sometimes one knee feels bigger, heavier. And as you breathe in and out, does the position of the knees change on the floor, or does it stay exactly the same? Does the pressure change? Is it the same at the top of the inhale and the bottom of the out? And the next time you breathe out, press the top of your left foot into the floor and see what happens to your left knee. And as you breathe in, just relax, no longer pressing the top of the foot into the floor. Let's do that a few more times. So on your exhale, the top of your left foot presses down into the mat. You probably feel your knee lift away from the floor. And on your inhale, you just relax. Let everything soften as much as you can. Exhale, lightly press the top of the left foot. As the knee extends, that's the movement required to press your foot down, you're going to feel the quadriceps engage. And then inhale to relax. So the quadriceps are those muscles on the front of the thigh, which help to extend the knee, which is the movement you're currently doing as you press down. And then relax. Do one more. Pressing down into the top of the foot, feel the quadriceps engage, and then just hold lightly for another breath. Hold lightly. So the knee isn't locked painfully. It's just a soft lock. And you're feeling that contraction of the front of your thigh. It might even start to fatigue. And then relax. Allow the knee to just soften into the floor as much as possible. Just feel the echoes of that effort. The echoes of that effort in your quadriceps and your knee. Breathe in, and this time when you exhale, bring your left heel toward your rear end. Bend your knee. And on your inhale, re-extend your leg. Exhale, bring your left heel toward your butt. Inhale, re-extend. And just like when you were extending the leg, now you're flexing the knee. You don't need to do it the most possible magnitude, right? You can keep it soft and mild, or you can do your most effort. It's up to you. Let's do a couple more. So when you bend the knee, you're feeling your leg flex. You're feeling your hamstrings engage. Those are the muscles on the back of the thigh. Let's just do one more. And this time, when your left knee is bent, your heel moving towards your butt, hold lightly. As if you want to bring your calf even closer to the back of your thigh, just hold, breathe. Feel that contraction in the back of the thigh, maybe a gentle stretch across the front of the knee. And then just relax. Allow the leg to return to the floor. Take a breath and notice any differences that you might be feeling between the right and the left now. Sometimes one side just feels more alive. Maybe the vibration has changed. And then I'm going to have you press down into your two hands and help yourself up to a tabletop. Help yourself up to all fours. And from your all fours, take a cow spine. So lift your tail, lift your heart, gaze forward. And then exhale and round your back. By the way, if your knees are tender on the floor here, you could take your blanket under them. And we'll offer the heart, drawing it through. Widening collarbones, breathing in. And then exhale and round. Now I'm going to add on. So as you draw your heart through, slide or glide your left knee to your left thumb. And then once you're here, find that cow spine and just lightly slide the right knee back until you feel like you can really express that cow spine, right? So your left knee now in a deep flexion. If it's too much for you, just don't bring your left knee so far forward, okay? And when you take the cow spine, push into those hands, round your back, send your left leg back until you're pressing into the ball of your foot. And your heel is pressing back, and you have a light stretch in your calf. And then inhale for that cow-shaped spine. Bring your left knee forward, offer your heart, widen your collarbones. And as you breathe out, you push into your hands. You send your left leg all the way back, landing the ball of the foot and pressing lightly through the heel. We'll do two more. Bring that left knee forward any amount, offer your heart. And for many, this flexion in the knee is a little too much, right? So you customize. Maybe your left knee just doesn't come so far forward. But flexing your knee is essential for a full and robust experience of the world. So I want you to practice to your capacity, okay? That's really, really important. Last time, pressing back through the heel, rounding your back, maybe feeling those quadriceps engage this time, feeling the leg deeply extended. And then bring the knee forward any amount and hold. I'm going to have you take one of those yoga blocks with your left hand and then just place it in front of your right hand all the way up to the front of your mat. So right on the edge of the mat there, that short edge. And then take your bolster and make a ramp. So one end of the bolster is on that block and the other end is under your right hip. Your left knee slides out onto that blanket, which you've already preset. So your knee, your ankle are on the blanket. Your right hip is resting on the low end of the ramp. And then go ahead and lay all the way down on the ramp with your right side all the way on the bolster, but your left side waist not on the bolster at all. So maybe even the left side shoulder and your left boob, if you have one, is not even on the bolster. So only the right side is on the bolster and the left side isn't at all. That's your choice. And since we're exploring all of the different capacities of the knee and the muscles which work on the knee, I'd like to work with the inner thigh a little bit. So press your left knee down lightly into that blanket and feel what happens. And then just relax, relax. Do it again. Press the left knee down into the blanket. Feel the inner thigh activate. And then just relax and feel the inner thigh relax. Let's do 2 more. Pressing down. And relax. This time, breathe in. Exhale, press down into that left knee and slide the left knee in toward the mat a little bit. So your left hip is going to lift up a little. It's like you're trying to slide your left knee under you, but it's not going to get anywhere near that. And then slide the left knee back out and release that downward pressure. Just slide it out as far as you want. And then press down into the knee, glide it in. It's only going to go a couple of inches in towards your mat, okay? And then slide it out and take a full and complete rest. 1 more. Slide that knee in, pressing down. Feel the engagement of the inner thigh. And you're feeling the outer thigh too, right? Here's the last one. Sliding in, and this time hold. So the knee is still sliding in. It's like you're trying to adduct it, pull it in, but it's not going anywhere. You're pushing down into the blanket with your knee. Take 1 more breath. Might feel a little fatigue, maybe even shaking. And then slide that knee all the way out. And just rest now in your half frog. This is my favorite way to do half frog on the ramp. I think it feels pretty good. Just breathe here and notice the pressure of the knee on the blanket. Without even pushing down, of course, there's a little compression there. Does that pressure change as you breathe in and out, or is it exactly the same? So working with individuals who live with chronic pain, of course, I work with a number of people who have knee pain. It is, after all, one of the most prominent reasons for disability is knee pain worldwide. And like all forms of musculoskeletal pain, when we have knee pain, we tend to limit our movement. We start to become fearful that certain movements will make our condition worse. And so gradually our movements become more and more restricted. The problem is when we restrict the movements of our knee, we restrict our experiences in the world. The knees are really the gateway to a full and robust experience of life. And anyone who has significant knee pain can attest to that. When the knees are limited, life is limited. So this practice is all about reintroducing movements, gaining confidence in different sensations. And not all of the sensations that you feel will be entirely pleasant, but that's okay, right? Pain doesn't mean that you're hurting yourself. It means that your brain is on alert. It's okay to poke into pain just a little bit. These movements can't hurt you. Let's just take 1 more breath now in the half frog. And this next transition is a little tricky. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lay breadcrumbs. 1 at a time, you're going to follow the breadcrumbs, and we'll all end up in the same place together. Okay? So you'll press up a little bit off of that bolster and lean into your left elbow. Lean into that left elbow. Lean so much into the left elbow that you can actually bring your right elbow to the left side of the bolster. So now both elbows are on the left, okay? And then roll onto your right side, drawing your right knee up and your left knee towards your chest so that you're laying on your bolster, but you're laying on the ramp of your bolster with your knees drawn up rather than having that right leg long. That wouldn't work very well. Knees drawn up, just hanging out on your bolster here for a moment, just a moment. And then start to kind of shrug your way even more to that right side, what is now the right side of your bolster, right? So the direction your knees are going, you want to go a little bit more, almost so you're starting to feel like, gosh, I'm going to fall off of this bolster. And then draw the left knee towards your chest. And use the hands to help you position the foot, the left foot, so you're standing on the foot, and the ankle is resting against the outer right thigh close to the knee. So as you look at your legs, you're looking kind of at a sideways figure 4. Standing on that foot, right leg is relaxed. And then shrug your way even a little bit more to the right, both hip and shoulder, so that when you open your chest up to the sky, you're not falling off the left side of your bolster. You're actually really nicely established on the bolster. So again, if you feel like you're falling off the left side, you need to go more to the right before you open up, okay? So the legs are still in this figure 4 shape. The heart is wide open. The left arm reaching out to the left. For some, that's too much, so you'll just place the left arm on that second block, okay? If it's a little too much to be wide open. And then let's move here a little bit. So press the left knee away from the heart a little bit. And then relax. Let's do a few more like that. So you're going to press the left knee away from your heart. And then relax. So it's a little external rotation of your thigh. When your thigh rotates with your knee in flexion like this, though, with your ankle against the right thigh, you're also rotating your knee joint. So this is a little commonly held misconception about the knee, which is that it acts like a hinge. That's not true at all. The knee can rotate, actually. The knee can rotate. And as you press the knee away, it's rotating a little more. And as you relax, it's rotating a little bit less. Now, for many, this rotation movement could be a little sensitive. And if you're one of those people, it's okay with me if you just imagine that you're doing the movement without actually doing it. Now this time, when you press your knee away from your heart, also press your left ankle into your right thigh. So you're going to do all of that at once. Left thigh rotates open, ankle presses, and then relax. Let's do 2 more like that, because that's hard. And the first time you might have been like, how do I even do that? That's okay. Your nervous system will figure out what to do. Just trust it. Let's do 1 more like that. And you might even start to feel a little fatigue in your outer hip. And that's okay. Muscle fatigue is a great way to teach your brain and your body about safe, confident, empowered movement. And the next time you relax, you're just going to stay put. You're going to stay relaxed. No more need to open and close that left thigh or to press the ankle. It's just relaxing here in the twisted pigeon. Another commonly held misconception about the knee is that it wears out when you use it too much. That old theory about wear and tear on the knee, this idea that too much activity will cause wear and tear, eventually wear out that cartilage, and then we'll have, quote, bone on bone. So if that were true, then how could it be true that marathon runners and long-distance runners actually suffer from osteoarthritis of the knee less than the general population? If it were true that using your knee caused it to wear out, how could it be that the people who use their knees the most have the healthiest knees? Let's just take one more breath in our twisted pigeon, everyone. And then you'll roll just a little bit to the right so you can uncross your left ankle from your right thigh and then roll all the way back onto your back, still on that ramp. And if you're like me, your ramp is not in the best position and you're going to have to adjust it a little bit, and that's okay. So you're on your back now on the ramp with your 2 feet flat on the floor. Your right foot remains flat, but your left knee you're going to draw into your chest and hold the back of the thigh with your hands. So you can either stack your palms or you can interlace your fingers around the thigh and allow your thumbs to wrap around that knee joint like a little hug. And just gently press your thigh into your hands. And with your thumbs, just kind of feel around the knee, right? Feel how the quadriceps engaged a little bit. Feel how the hamstrings engaged. And then relax. Use the hands to pull the thigh in without resistance. And then do it again. Push the thigh into the hands. Use the thumbs to feel the strength and the power of those muscles, which is around your knee joint. And then relax, relax. Do 2 more. Pressing the thigh. Maybe this time you'll feel the hamstrings tendon. It's under your right fingers, I bet. Under the right side of your thigh. And relax. Last one. So this time you're going to press your thigh into your hands. You're going to feel, tactily just appreciate the power of that joint. And then any amount, straighten your left leg, reaching your toes up to the sky. So now you're feeling your hamstrings engage and also your quadriceps, which we've already explored. And then relax. Push the thigh into the hands, straighten the leg any amount. Feel the power of both the back of the thigh and the front of the thigh now. And relax. Let's do just one more of those. I know it's kind of hard. And this time, keep the leg straight, but no longer pressing the thigh into the hands. Just let the hands support the leg in this position. And some of you will like to bring your hands up higher on your calf now. One more breath. And then just relax. Bring that left foot back to the ground, back to the floor. And roll onto your left side. Help yourself up to a seated position so you're faced away from your bolster ramp now. And just bring your left ankle in front of your right knee. So it's almost like you're in crisscross applesauce, except your left heel is in front of your right knee and your right heel is under your left knee, which means your ankles are further forward than they would be if you were sitting in the Sukhasana position, okay? Now, for many of us, this square pose is a challenging pose because it requires a lot of hip rotation, external rotation, which then, of course, as you know now, requires a lot of knee rotation. So sitting up tall here might be the best option for you. If your knees are way up high towards your armpits, sit on your blanket as well. Lifting up your center of gravity will make you a little more comfortable. And then there are some of you who are really comfortable in this position, and you might even like to fold forward. So that's an option as well. You will stay in the pose for, let's stay for about a minute in our square pose. There's all sorts of ways you can orient your props so that you're feeling supported and comfortable. So often when we talk about the knee, we talk about it with a level of vulnerability. this whole wear and tear argument and bone on bone. We think of the knee just as a joint, but the knee is not just a joint. The knee is a system. It's a really extraordinary piece of architecture. But even the structure and the system doesn't fully explain, doesn't fully encapsulate just how extraordinary the knee is. Because like all of your tissues, your knee is adapting constantly. It's never static. The knee is adapting to all of the stressors that you put it under. In fact, living things only adapt as a result of stress. Let's just take one more breath in our square pose. And then if you were folded forward, you're going to come back up to vertical. Just let your hands rest either on your props or on your legs. And take a breath, maybe even with the eyes closed. And let's begin to organize ourselves for the second side. So just take the bolster, if it's being used in front of you and your block, back to the front of the mat. You're going to turn all the way back to the front of your mat and initially come to a tabletop so that you can bring your blocks and your bolster up to the front like they were when you began your practice. And your blanket, that's going to go to the right side of your mat now. And once you've got your props set up, you're going to come back down to your belly and rest your forehead on your hands or on the floor. Maybe your cheek is on the ground. Notice once again your two knees resting on the floor. Notice if everything is exactly the same as before, or if anything has shifted, anything at all. And then on your next exhale, press the top of your right foot down into the floor. Feel your knee lift up a little bit and the front of your thigh engage. And then relax. Exhale, extend the leg, engage the quads, press the top of the foot down. And inhale to relax. A few more of those with your breath, yogi. And there's no need to hyperextend the knee. I'm one who hyperextends the knees on accident quite a bit. So if you're like me, you don't have to go as far. Just enjoy the engaging of the front of your thigh without needing to go all the way to the end range of motion. Let's do two more. And the next time the top of your foot is pressing down, you're going to keep it there. Again, not hyperextending if you're prone to hyperextension. Just feel the front of the thigh engage and enjoy that power. You might even start to feel the front of your thigh fatigue. Fatigue is a great way to learn. And then relax. Breathe in. And then exhale, bring your right heel towards your rear end, flexing the knee. Inhale, extend the knee. Exhale, flex the knee. Feel your hamstrings engage. Inhale, extend the knee. Sometimes when you're flexing the knee like this, you get a little cramp in your hamstrings. That is not uncommon. Many of us are not used to using our hamstrings like this. So if you get a cramp, Just kind of work it out and come back whenever you can. And the next time your heel is moving towards your rear end, you're just going to stay. You're going to keep that light squeeze of the back of your leg. Just breathe. Feel the power, the precision in this movement. And then relax. Take a moment to compare the two sides, right and left. And come to your hands and your knees. And from hands and knees, do a little cow and cat. Lift your heart for the cow. Tuck your tail, tuck your chin for the cat. Let's add on, shall we? So the next time you're in that cow shape, your heart is lifted. Lean into the left knee and glide your right knee towards your right thumb, any amount. Slide your left knee back if needed so that you can really find a nice expressive cow shape in your spine. And then push into the hands, slide your right foot all the way back until the leg is extended, push through the heel, maybe engage the front of the thigh. Glide your knee forward as you find that cow shape, any amount, right? If this deep flexion in your knee is no bueno, you just have your knee further back, that's all. And then slide it back, round your back, push through the heel, extend the leg. Glide that right knee forward any amount. I'll show you what it's like to not have it quite so far forward. And then press it back. Last time, bringing that right knee forward, find that cow shape. And then take a block. It goes all the way up to the front of your mat to the left. Take your bolster over your block to make a ramp. Your hands are on either side of your ramp. Your right knee and ankle come out to the blanket, which you've already preset to the right, and your left hip is resting on the bottom of the ramp. Slide the right knee out any amount and lay your belly chest down onto that bolster. And again, you have an option here. I would like for sure for your right hip to not be on the bolster. That's really essential. But you could also have your right side chest and shoulder off of the bolster as well. Or you can be a little bit more diagonal. So your chest is fully on the bolster. It's your choice. And then push down into that right knee, down into the blanket, and then relax. Let's do a few more. So we're just kind of exploring the adductors. Just engaging and relaxing. I often say that as a yoga teacher who specializes in chronic pain, I'm not really qualified to tell you how to move. In fact, I'm not sure if any yoga teacher is. That's not necessarily part of our training. But what I'm really good at, and what yoga teachers can do probably better than anyone, is help you increase your awareness of how you're moving, which is really the first step into moving better with more confidence, with less pain. This time, push your right knee into that blanket and then slide your knee towards you a little. So your right cheek is going to lift up and your hips are going to tilt. And then slide the knee away as far as you can and just relax for a second. Let's do it again. Push your right knee down, glide it towards you any amount, and then slide it away, full and complete rest. 2 more. Last one. Hold this time. Keep pushing your knee down. Keep your hips tilted. Hold. Maybe it starts to shake, right? It gets a little fatigued. But this is just the kind of situation your brain needs to really perk up and say, whoa, we're doing something kind of interesting right now. And then relax. Let that right knee slide out as far as you'd like. And then just rest here in your half frog on ramp. Half frog on ramp. So the knee is an adaptable structure. And like all living things, it adapts as a result of stressors, right? So we have all kinds of stressors in life, not just on our knees, right? We have stressors that are too much, right? So a stressor that would be too much would be some kind of trauma to the knee, where maybe you twist too much, or maybe it's a sports injury, right? So that's too much stress. It's not that the tissues can't handle that level of stress. They would just need to adapt to it. And most people aren't equipped to adapt to that kind of stress when it's a traumatic injury, right? And another kind of stress is what we call eustress, which is good stress. That's the kind of stress that's just enough to trigger an adaptation process in the tissues. So that would be like those long distance runners. Over time, their knees are adapting to get stronger and stronger and stronger so that they can support the person that's doing the running. And there's another way that we adapt as well, but this one is not so positive. So what we see in the research is that individuals who use their knees a lot, like long distance runners, have really healthy knees, but people who are very sedentary and don't use their knees very much at all have pretty horrible knees. So this basically means that when we don't use it, we lose it. Tissues get less healthy. So my job with my clients is helping them learn how to use their knees again with confidence, so they can start to build up to that healthy stress. And we can build up to healthy stress at any stage, right? We just have to grade our exposure. This is your final breath in your half frog. And you're going to press into the right elbow. So that right elbow is on the floor. You're going to press into it. Maybe bop it over to the right a little bit so that you can bring your left elbow also to the right. So both elbows are on the right side of that bolster. And then roll over onto your left side with your hip on the floor. And you're resting on the bolster with your knees drawn up towards your chest, both of them. And then start to wiggle your way to the left a little bit more. So the direction your knees are pointing, go that way. And gather your right knee into your chest. Use the hands to position the ankle so it's resting, crossing over the left thigh. And the sole of the right foot is standing on the floor. So you're looking at a figure 4, a number 4, which is sort of resting on its side. And you might need to scrunch yourself a little bit more to the left. So as you roll your heart open, you're not going to fall off the right side of your bolster. If you feel like you're falling off, you need to move left a little bit more before you open up. Feel free to use your extra block under your right arm. And then just gently opening up with that right thigh. So bring the right thigh away from you and then relax. Let's do a few more. So we've already looked at the muscles which help you to extend your knee and flex your knee. We looked at the muscles that help you draw your knee into the midline, the adductors in the half frog. And now we're paying attention a little bit to the rotators of the hip, which also work on the knee joint. And if this movement, this rotation movement, is a little too much for you today, it's okay with me if you just stay in your pose, but imagine that you're doing the movement. And we're going to add on, whether you're imagining it or doing it. Now, with your right thigh opening, push your ankle also down into your thigh. And then relax. Let's do 3 more. So at no stage are we beyond the capacity to add more activity. Depending on where you're at, your activity may be significantly less than someone else, but you can still add activity, because the knees are really your gateway to the world. So many things become unavailable in life when the knees are not healthy. Okay. And the next time you're just standing on that right foot, you're not pressing your ankle into your thigh, you're not rotating your thigh, just hang out, just stay put in your twisted pigeon. And if you have beautifully healthy knees, love them, appreciate them by loading them, by giving them lots of novel inputs, and yes, even impact. Your knees can handle it. They just need to be conditioned. Let's just take a couple more breaths here in our twisted pigeon. Okay. So we're going to unwind these legs. So you can come onto your back, still on your ramp, and adjust your ramp if needed, or yourself on your ramp for that matter. 2 feet are flat on the floor. And then draw the right knee in towards your chest, but instead of bringing your hands onto your shin, hold your thigh. Hold your thigh and wrap your thumbs around the knee like a little hug. Yeah. And then push your thigh into your hands and just feel what happens. Yeah. Rejoice in this, support, and then relax. Let's do a few more. Push the thigh into the hands. Feel the hamstrings engage. Maybe use your thumbs to explore what else may be happening in the joint. And relax. 2 more. Last one. And this time, extend the legs. So bring the toes up. You're going to feel your quadriceps engage, and you're probably going to shake. And then relax everything. That's because usually your hamstrings and your quadriceps oppose each other. If they didn't, your leg wouldn't go anywhere. So this is a little challenging, but I've already alluded to the fact that your brain really perks up when you're doing something weird, novel, challenging. And that's what we're wanting. We're wanting the brain to kind of change its mind about the knee. We're wanting it to pay nice, healthy attention to the knee. Let's do 2 more. Yeah, it does like to shake. Okay, so this time when your foot is poked up and your thigh is pressing into your hands, you're going to hold. Keep the leg straight, but stop pressing the thigh into the hands. Now the hands can just support the position of this right leg. Maybe your hands want to slide up to the calf. This is not a class which is about the hamstrings, although the episode last week was, if you want to do a hamstrings episode. So just 1 more breath. And then release that right foot back to the floor and roll to your right so you can help yourself up to your seat facing the back of your mat. And this time, crossing your legs, bring your right heel in front of your left knee and your left heel under your right knee. If you want, you can start to set up some props in front of you if you know you're going to fold forward. If you want, you can put something under your butt so you're sitting taller, if this position is particularly challenging for you. You could, of course, support your thighs. You could put blocks under your thighs. If they're already quite high, why not? Just support them there. And either you'll sit up tall or you'll fold forward any amount into your square pose. So another unfortunate misconception that we have about knees in our culture is that they don't heal, right? How many times have you heard, once you damage your meniscus, you just have to remove the part that's damaged because it's never going to heal? Well, guess what? We now know that's not true. Meniscus actually heal very well, especially in the outer circumference of the meniscus. And so rarely are meniscectomies even advised anymore if you have a evidence-based provider. Although there are definitely cases where those surgeries are absolutely essential. In most cases, they are not. In fact, even the dreaded ACL rupture, this is a common sports injury, and it used to be ACL ruptures were always surgically repaired. We now know that ACLs will heal themselves in about 90% of cases within 3 months. And I don't tell you this to give you medical advice. Your doctor is way better at that than I am. I tell you this so that maybe you'll spend just a moment in awe of your knee, your incredible, adaptable knee, and its ability to heal and support you. Let's just take 2 more breaths in the square pose. And then you'll press your hands down to help you up to vertical. Just rest your hands on something for a moment. Just sit in vertical for a moment, maybe even with the eyes closed. And then if you have props on your lap, you'll just move those out of the way again. Send your legs out long in front of you. You might like to have your hands resting behind you if it's hard to sit up tall with your legs extended, for sure. But if it's okay for you to sit up without the support of your arms, and only if it's okay, I'm going to have you rest your hands on your knees. Point your feet. Point your feet away from your face. And then draw your toes back so they're pointing towards your face, and just feel what happens. Use your hands to feel what happens with your knees when you do that. Point. And then flex. It's all about awareness, appreciation. Regardless of your status with your knees, they are to be cherished. Let's see, the next time here, your toes are pointed back towards your face. Bring your toes out to the sides. Keep your hands on your knees if you can. And maybe you just need one hand behind you and you can use the other hand on your knee. And then turn your toes in. You may need to widen your legs a little bit. Yeah? Turning toes out. And turning them in. And again, feeling what's happening with your knees tactily with your hands, but also what's happening within. As you're meditating on your knee joints, what are you feeling? Maybe there's temperature changes, pressure changes, feelings of stretch, compression, twisting. Next time your toes are pointed in, I'm going to have you stay in that position just for a moment. And then point your toes forward, out to the sides. Flex your feet strongly, drawing your toes back towards your face. Turn your toes in and then point them away from you again. So now you're circling your ankles, right? And you're noticing the experience of the knees, both tactily and kinesthetically. So from within and from your hands, or just a hand. And breathe. So no matter what your status is with your knees, you can begin to move again. This is a great practice for that. Just getting used to movements that are not weight-bearing, that allow you to feel the full spectrum of sensations and experiences available in your knees. That's what it's all about. Let's take one more breath. One more circle. And then keep your toes turned out. Just relax your legs and maybe slide your blanket back to the back of your mat so you can come all the way down onto your back with your head on that blanket, unless you don't like a blanket under your head. And find that position of the corpse with the arms slightly away from the sides, toes, knees turned out. And take one more opportunity to attend to your knees. Notice any differences side to side. Maybe after all that activity, there's echoes. Could be pain, soreness. Could be a temperature change. Could just be a greater awareness or a higher frequency vibration. And then if you're someone whose mind wanders a lot in Shavasana, I would invite you to continue this meditation on your knees for the next couple of minutes. But if you're someone who loves your task-free Shavasana, now is the time to let it go, allow the mind to fall back. Yogi, I invite you to remain in your Shavasana for as long as you are able today. Namaste.